Hello and welcome to my thoughts on Octopath Traveler, now that we have finished it 93 and a half hours through. Right. Okay, I'll start with the whole spiritual successor to Final Fantasy VI thing. I don't think that's true. While, yes, it does borrow quite heavily in some places from Final Fantasy VI, I don't... If you slapped Final Fantasy 6.5 on this and put it out there, I don't know. It's apologies for Dawn. It's a very different beast. So yeah, Octopath Traveler is a very different beast to Final Fantasy VI. I cannot in good conscience say that it is the spiritual successor, because I don't believe it is. Its scope is too small, I believe, to warrant the comparison. Yeah, it just doesn't. For me, that whole argument just doesn't fit. It doesn't. Okay, for the proper stuff, for the rest of the stuff, we'll start with the story or stories, as it happened, as this game is based on. Based on the end, when everything is sort of drawn together, I can see what they were going for, but at the same time, this feels more like a 93-hour prelude to something. It's like it's almost there. We have all the elements for an actual, I won't say proper RPG, but a bigger RPG. It has this mystery of the gate and the blood magic, and from all these different stories that have come together, but nothing really comes of all that. It tells the story of how people get to the start of where the actual story is supposed to start. If that makes sense. But in doing all of that, it then splits everyone back off again sends them back home, and they lived happily ever after, basically. It's an odd... This is an odd concept of a story. And yes, even before that, most of these people have no reason whatsoever to join up with anyone else, because they only pursue their own story. So you've got them all in your party all the way through, and why are they there? I'm there to do my story, but the way the story's told is... Okay, so Ulbrich is the only one who is visible in Ulbrich's story. And yes, they have the little vignettes or whatever from the Tales of series where the party members talk to each other during that story, briefly. But none of that happens as it should. It's kind of off-putting. I mean, look at our party on screen. Ulbrich, Tressa, Cyrus, and Ophelia. Remember your Shakespeare? I mean, I know I recruited them anti-clockwise around the world, but still, even if Ulbrich had gone south first and picked up Primrose first instead of Tressa, from who Primrose was at the start, she wouldn't be trusting him as far as she could throw him, you know? And to be fair, Tressa getting Ulbrich to be her guard as a merchant would make sense, but they never really explore that at all. It just... It's an odd way to approach the story, a very odd way to approach the story. Very, very odd. Some of the stories, I'm specifically looking at Ophelia for this. Ophelia's story specifically, I thought, was a victim of how the story was made. So, like, each character must have 4 chapters. Each chapter must be approximately an hour and a half long from go to woe. Yet, from what we learned from Ophelia, for the reason she left her home to go on her tour of the world, was that she had to visit all these churches and perform the kindling. And yeah, her story feels kind of breakneck, because you only kindle 2 flames. And yes, it is just a continent, it is a region. But still, you know, yeah. It's like, is that really all you have here? You've got this church dedicated to the flame, and there are only 2 other than your cathedral with a flame to kindle. It's yeah. I think her story needed a lot more time in the oven, a few more first drafts before they settled on one. And yes, the formula in particular I noticed during the chapter 4s when everything was okay. The first half hour is all this talking. Then there'll be this section of actual voice acted work. Then you go through an area then you'll go through the place to get to where you have to fight the final boss, quote unquote. That is exactly 2 screens long. And yeah, it's, like I said, an interesting concept. Okay, moving on from interesting concepts in the story, the combat. I liked a great deal about the combat, actually. Still questioning why they chose lightning and wind as opponents rather than lightning and water. That's a minor thing, but I mean, probably so that they didn't have to make 2 blues or 2 whites for ice and light, or ice and water, whatever. I like the way that the vulnerabilities stayed on the screen once you found them, either through Cyrus discerning or you hitting with whatever they were weak to. I like the music. I will say that the middle section of the game's battle music started to grate right at the end, but that was just because of how much time it took to level everyone up to get to their next chapters. That's a whole nother kettle of fish. The leveling experience. I liked how the jobs worked, how you could freely change them and change the abilities that you got from them, use them interchangeably and so forth, depending on how you needed them. The pacing of the battles was somewhat strange to me. I think that had more to do with how I was battling them, with allowing everyone to actually finish their voice lines before I do anything. That's probably a me thing, though. The leveling experience is... I'll go on to that now. It's interesting. Again, my experience is probably flavoured by how I played it for the playthrough, at least in part. But it is slow as a wet week at the start and right up to the end game. The battles just take a long time to resolve. It's like, yeah, you will spend a lot of time battling, and yeah, some of those boss battles dragged a bit for me as well. Again, particularly in the mid game. some of the abilities that you get from the relic jobs would have been so much more beneficial a lot earlier in the game. Particularly the experience gain and the AP gain. And as for the economy, geez. If you're going to... I would suggest you choose either Tressa or Therion as your starting character. Tressa, so that every time that you walk into a place, she'll spot something that some poor mug's dropped and get you money that way, and abuse her collect skill to get everything close to death, get 100% success rate, and collect from every single monster that you can to get money. Because gear is important in this game. Just as much as leveling in some places. We'll move on to the side stories. The side stories I essentially left alone after the first couple, largely because if I didn't deal with them then, right then and there, there was no way at all to tell when you came back what it is you were doing for this person or to this person in order to complete their quest. It's like it was, okay, the tale of X has started, but you could never find information as to what you needed to do for them in order to complete it. A little journal of that might have been nice. Though someone's probably going to tell me that, oh yes, you can actually see it if you go into the tavern and look at the tales there, but that is also probably true. I have not checked myself. But yes, you need money, you need equipment, and apparently the side quests are a good way to get both. So, whatever. The voice acting it's both not the best I've ever heard and certainly nowhere near the worst I've ever heard. I know I made the point several dozens of times during the playthrough that it was interesting that the directors chose to take the Praetorian model of voice acting and use that as the gold standard. I just, as someone who reads what characters are saying out loud, knowing when a character is going to suddenly start actually saying their lines rather than just be text on the screen would have been handy. Yes. Oh, the music, of course, the music. Very different to Final Fantasy music, shall we say. A lot of different instruments, and I like that. I particularly like the tin whistle during the victory fanfare, which was why it went through its entire duration every battle. I liked the first area's battle theme. I liked the late game's battle theme. I did like the mid game's battle theme up to the point where the grind became really real. Then it was like, yep, okay, here's yet another battle. I won't say any tracks particularly stood out for me, but a lot of it is incredibly easy listening. So, and this is part of the reason why I chose Ripple Tide to do the My Thoughts episode in, and that was because it's a very, very relaxing area theme. I do find myself missing overworld themes, just like I find myself missing airships. But I mean, yes, the region themes are thematic and whatever. So, but yes, I do find myself wishing for the days back when we had overworld themes. Okay, what would I give it? I would. Yeah, that is such a tricky one. Because there was a lot about it I liked, but at the same time there was enough that was frustrating to just always be tickling the back of the mind. You know, it's I was going to say somewhere between 5 and 7, but I will give Octopath Traveler a 6. Being generous, I will put it up to 7 because it tried to be something new. It tried a lot of different things. I particularly liked some of the tooltips, but at the same time, some of the item tooltips. Some of the skill tooltips were absolutely phenomenal for what they did. Just that little bit of text at the end saying equipping multiple of this skill won't improve it further is just thank you. Thank you for letting me know that. So I'm not just sitting here using up 3 skill slots that I could be using for other things. But at the same time, particularly the items, and those nuts that boosted stats. It was like a single very short sentence will increase your magic power. Okay, is that just for a battle? Is that permanently? Does it wear off? Who knows? So they all just sat there like everything else. So yes, my verdict is a 6. Will go up to, being generous, will go up to 7. I don't personally believe it's a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy VI. But yeah, it has and had potential to be more than what it was, but the way the story was handled was, yeah, just held it back a lot. If you're going to play it, I would personally recommend choosing four of the characters and saying, right, this is essentially my party. It will never change from these 4 characters. I will go around to all of the job crystal sites, find all of them, equip them for what I need, and play one playthrough as that, and do a second playthrough with the other 4 if you find you want to do that. Because yes, even completing all 8 stories. We only got the end credits from Olbric's, which is the very first. So I don't think it particularly matters who you do it with, or if you do it with just one character and every job crystal is theirs. I hope that Octopath Traveler 2 picks up essentially from where the end of Octopath Traveler is, but I'm very sure it won't. I'm fairly sure it's its own standalone game. But anyway, I think I've rambled enough. So yes, join us tomorrow for Tressa's story in full. Tressa's Chapter 1 story in full. And then the day after for the start of Dishonored 2. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next episode, whatever that happens to be.